All right, welcome back, friends. I'm, of course, Tony Toon, the great and glorious Walrus.
And welcome back. I am Leanne Palmer, your bright and sparkly happy fairy.
Antifa,
Again.
again.
Why?
Like I said in the first video when we were first talking about it, it's summertime. They're going to start being active again. They fight in the old way, only when it's nice and sunny outside they're around. Um, God. Okay.
So what did they do this time?
Well, one of these idiots got themselves killed. Okay. This guy, I forget his name, but he has a German-sounding last name, which I found very funny.
Okay.
An authoritarian German. Who would have guessed it? He wrote a manifesto. Well, some people call it a manifesto. Some people are calling it a goodbye letter. Because some people are saying he suicide by cop, basically.
Okay.
And
See, I don't know. I don't know the situation you're talking about.
and from what I've been able to gather, it does sound like it's suicide by cop. Okay. God, where to start with this guy? He wrote a goodbye letter / manifesto, and I was reading a little bit of it online this morning. I've read the Christchurch shooter manifesto as well.
Okay.
It's just you're I would encourage people to read these two manifestos and compare the two, because you get an idea of what happens when you lose your mind politically, basically. So this guy, there's been rumors that he's lost custody of his son. He's not allowed to see his son anymore or whatever. He made a homemade AR-15, and he points that out in the manifesto. Your gun laws did nothing. He made the AR-15. I don't know if he was trying to say that the gun laws, because he was part of the I can't think of the name of it right now. Jim Brown Antifa group, which are very pro Second Amendment. Well, I guess I shouldn't, because they're not really. They're anarchists. They don't really believe in any government institutions, but they are pro firearm.
Okay.
So I don't know if he was making the argument that for the gun laws did nothing, whether he was saying that they need stricter gun laws, or hey idiot, the gun laws don't work, don't even try it. I think that was what from what I read of his manifesto, I think that was the point he was trying to make. But he made a homemade AR-15. He made a couple firebombs, and he decided to storm an ICE facility.
What does storming an ice facility have to do with anything?
Well, he believed in the manifesto. He believed that we're running concentration camps, and we've talked about that before.
We've had that conversation.
But a moderate right winger, whenever I speak, I put out very dangerous rhetoric. Obviously, extremely dangerous. It's not dangerous at all to say that we're running concentration camps or that the president's a fascist, when obviously he's not. Jesus fucking Christ, people.
I think he has mental health issues.
Well, I don't know about that. I think he's crazy like a fox. We'll get into that in the Trump tweets video.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another video.
But as I was talking about in last week, people have started to distance themselves from Antifa because thankfully people are starting to, I think the main legacy media and others are starting to wake up to what these people actually are. Now, this guy was a bit of an oddity for Antifa because he was 62 years old.
Okay.
He wasn't a kid. Most of these people are kids. And like I said in an earlier video, a lot of these people, they're LARPers. They don't, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a badass, but if you watch them like train and fight, they're not. They don't really understand violence. They don't really understand fighting. They have it's almost like a child's interpretation, from what I've been able to see, where they think they're going to be able to go around and beat people up and not suffer any consequences, not get beat up themselves.
Okay.
So, and it just reminded me of, I have friends on Facebook, family members, who've kind of bought into this, they're just anti-fascist, bullshit. Like when Eric Trump got sped on up in Chicago, and I had a family member who wrote, this is a good thing. Yeah, real good thing. Jesus. Anyways, there's a couple big problems. There's still some media outlets supporting it. I believe it was Vice who wrote an article. Not outright supporting it, but saying they understood it. There's also Twitter is still allowing Antifa types to praise this attack.
Okay.
The tagline is "Rest in Power," which should tell you everything you need to know about Antifa right there. Jesus. And so there are still people supporting this, and what I'm afraid of is this isn't going to be the last attack. Now, another point we need to bring up is he brought firebombs, pipe bombs, and all that stuff. He could have burnt that facility down.
He could have done some serious damage.
Which was housing, at the time, illegal immigrants who were awaiting hearings and deportations and, whatever. You're not helping the people by burning the facility down.
No, that doesn't help anyone.
But of course he thinks it's he thought it was a concentration camp, so.
But even then, if there are people inside the building, that doesn't help them.
Yes.
I mean, at that point, you're hurting the people you're trying to help. And I forgot what I was going to say.
It's all right. These people break people's minds. They break my mind because it's frustrating. And unfortunately, there's probably going to... my prediction is there's going to be a video at least once a week talking about these people because, like I said, it's summer. They're going to be active. They calm down. They usually calm down during the winter months.
Right. I will say that while I hadn't heard about the situation you were talking about, I did come across a video with Andy No.
Oh yeah.
And some of the things that he was saying is that while his bruises they say that he got away with. Traditional media was talking about how he came out of it with just like cuts and scrapes and minor injuries. No. He has a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
And that is going to take some time. That is a serious brain injury.
Yes.
And he was doing an interview with another YouTuber.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of some interviews like right after, and you could tell he was a little.
He was still a little unstable when he was doing this, like unsteady.
Yes.
And he talked about being unsteady. But one of the things that they were talking about is the fact that the people who did this have not been arrested and will not be arrested, even though they did serious injury to him. Because in Portland, the mayor of the city also acts ACTS as the chief of police. And the police have been told to stand down and not arrest the Antifa protesters.
Yeah.
Or the Antifa people when they go to do these attacks. So when you get these attacks like this, especially in a city like Portland where the mayor basically holds two positions and there's a huge conflict of interest, you end up with a mess like we have.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's one of the many reasons why I think Portland is the mess that it is. I mean, there's a whole lot of cities along the West Coast that are just
having problems right now.
Having huge issues. And a lot of it goes to situations like that.
Well, I mean, it when you break it down fundamentally, I mean, you look at these people, they think that they're just coming from a very fundamentally flawed premise. You know, not thinking we should have a border, not. They really don't understand law and how a society. I hate to be. We live in a society that mean, but they really don't get it. I mean, they really don't. But anyways, and another point I wanted to bring up real quick, just speaking about Antifa in general, you know, what happened in Weimar, Germany, part of the reason why the Nazis were able to seize control is because there was groups of communists going around beating the shit out of people.
Right.
And the Nazis were able to use that. So, you know, if you're in Antifa or you're sympathetic to them, you might want to think twice about a lot of, like, causing disorder and bringing the system down, because what might come in as a replacement, you might really not like.
Well, not only that, this is kind of how things happened anyway, because I was reading the story of a World War II survivor from Austria.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how Hitler came in and took over Austria. And history, and most of us are taught that he rolled in with the tanks and took off. That's not how it happened. Austria freely elected him and said, yes, we're going to let Germany annex us. And they slowly implemented laws such as daycare and extradition, and like they moved out all of
the Jews.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the Jewish people at that point. It was all of the immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
They came down to a 0 unemployment rate and allowed women to go back to work, because at that point, women, once you got married, you weren't allowed to work. It was not even. It was more of a social thing than a legal thing. That the belief that a man should be able to take care of his household and his family, and so a woman shouldn't have to work. And so women who had been teachers and stuff were allowed to come in and go back to work, and that was great. And then from there it went to Hitler saying, well, we're going to take religion out of everything. And even the religious schools were told that they couldn't teach religion.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunday, people weren't allowed to go to church, but there was a youth day in which they all went to camps and all of that. And we know about all of this going on in Germany and all of that history, but it happened one step at a time, so that by the time you get to where you were in Nazi Germany at the height of the war, right before the U.S. steps in, people are going, how did we get here? And you look back and it's one step at a time. Oh, well, that's not so bad. Oh, that's not so bad. Oh, hey, look, they're providing daycare. Government provided daycare for working moms so that you can drop off your child at the daycare center, and they're in government hands basically 24/7.
Yeah, they're teaching them really good values.
Well, they were teaching them the values that they wanted them to have.
Exactly.
And I don't want to see that happen to us here in the U.S. And we have to be really, really careful about that.
We
And
do.
a lot of Antifa doesn't understand that what they're doing leads to that one step at a time sort of thing
Yeah.
that ends up in a situation where it's just bad all the way around.
Because if this continues to go and this continues to escalate, eventually you're going to piss off the rank and file of society, and they're going to want. They're not just going to want the laws right now to be applied, because right now, to deal with Antifa, what you need to do is you need to apply the laws to them, like what you were saying.
In Portland.
Yeah, that, as far as I'm concerned, that mayor should be arrested for practically dereliction of duty. I mean, I don't understand why the city council. If I was in the city council, which I wouldn't be because they wouldn't elect me, but if I heard that, I'd be trying to get the guy impeached, because obviously the guy's not fulfilling his duties.
I know that's part of the lawsuit that Andy No was talking about on the interview that I was watching today.
Right now, how we need to deal with Antifa is we need to apply the laws we have, unmasking laws, and when they assault people, you need to throw them in jail. And quite frankly, we need to make examples out of them. We need to, even though they're kids, we need to apply maximum sentence on them. Do that a couple times, and Antifa will go away. If that doesn't happen and they're allowed to grow and it's going to continue to escalate, then what will eventually happen is people will get pissed and they will demand far greater repercussions to Antifa. And
stricter laws that'll affect everybody.
Yeah, and then more people will lose their liberty.
Yeah.
And yeah, be bad.
It will be bad.
But anyways, that's all I have to say.
That's what I've got for today.
Yep.
Now, as he said, because it is summertime, because protests in general happen more often during good weather and warm weather, we will probably be updating this topic on a regular basis.
Yeah, because unless something happens, unless the government really cracks down on them here, which I'm hearing rumors they might, about every week there's probably going to be a story.
Right, and so we'll keep you guys updated on that situation as the summer progresses.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all you got. Remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button so that you know when our videos go up. We are, as of taping, 7 subscribers. And as I said in our last video, if we get to 10, I will do a surprise for our subscribers. So like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button to know when our videos go up. And have a very nice afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.